In a small-town high school, where whispers travel faster than wildfire, one quiet girl stood at the edge of everyone's radar, till the day her shirt was ripped in front of the entire class. What happened next wasn't just a reaction. It was a rebellion that shook the room silent and changed everything. This is the story of Ellie Harper, the girl who turned humiliation into a moment no one would ever forget. If you're gripped by stories of underdogs rising up, hit that subscribe button and join us for a tale of courage, betrayal, and unexpected strength that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Ellie Harper was the kind of girl who blended into the background of Willow Creek High, a small-town school nestled in the rolling hills of Ohio. At 16, she was slight, with pale skin and ash-blonde hair that hung in a loose braid down her back. Her clothes were plain faded jeans, thrift store sweaters, and sneakers that had seen better days. She kept her head down, her voice soft, and her thoughts locked away in a spiral notebook she carried everywhere. To most of her classmates, Ellie was invisible. To a select few, she was a target. Willow Creek wasn't a cruel place, not really. It was just small, the kind of town where everyone knew your business, and your last name carried weight. Last name didn't. Her mom worked double shifts at the diner, and her dad had left when she was 6, leaving behind a trailer on the edge of town and a reputation for being that family. Kids like Ellie didn't get invited to the bonfires by the lake or the birthday parties at the bowling alley. Instead, they got whispers, snickers, and, on bad days, worse. The trouble started in third period, American history, on a crisp October morning. The classroom smelled of chalk dust and teenage boredom, the kind of place where the clock seemed to tick slower. Ellie sat in the back, as always, her notebook open, sketching the outline of a tree in the margins. Mr. Callahan droned on about the Battle of Gettysburg, his voice a monotone hum that barely kept the class awake. In the front row, Kaylee Summers held court. Kaylee was everything Ellie wasn't: loud, confident, draped in the kind of popularity that came with perfect curls and a cheerleader's uniform. She was the queen bee of Willow Creek High, and her friends Mason Reed and Tessa Brooks were her loyal soldiers. Mason, a broad-shouldered junior with a smirk that never faded, leaned back in his chair, tossing a crumpled paper ball at Tessa. She giggled, swatting it away, her eyes darting to Kaylee for approval. The trio had a rhythm, a way of commanding the room without saying a word. Today, though, Kaylee's gaze landed on Ellie. It wasn't random. Ellie had made the mistake of answering a question in class the day before a question Kaylee had fumbled. The room had gone quiet when Ellie's soft voice offered the correct date of Lincoln's assassination, and Kaylee's cheeks had burned red. To Kaylee, that was a challenge, and Kaylee didn't lose. As Mr. Callahan turned to write on the board, Kaylee whispered something to Mason. His smirk widened. Tessa stifled a laugh. Ellie, lost in her sketch, didn't notice the shift in the air until it was too late. Mason stood, stretching like he was just heading to the pencil sharpener, but his path veered toward Ellie's desk. In one swift motion, he grabbed the hem of her oversized sweater and yanked. The fabric tore with a sickening rip, exposing the plain white t-shirt underneath and part of her bra strap. The class erupted in gasps and laughter, heads whipping, around to see the quiet girl's humiliation laid bare. Ellie froze. Her face burned, her heart hammering so loud she thought it might burst. The laughter felt like a physical weight, pressing her into her chair. Kaylee's voice cut through the noise, sharp and gleeful. "Look at her, trying to act like she's somebody." Tessa chimed in. "What even is that shirt? Do you find it in a dumpster?" The words stung, but it was Mason's grin, wide and cruel, that made Ellie's hands tremble. She clutched her notebook, her only shield, as the class's eyes bored into her. Asterisk. Mr. Callahan turned, confused, his glasses slipping down his nose. "What's going on back there?" He barked, but his voice lacked authority. Kaylee flashed him a sweet smile, and he hesitated, unsure. Ellie wanted to disappear, to melt into the floor and never come back. But something else stirred inside her, a spark, small but fierce, that she'd never felt before. She wasn't just embarrassed. She was angry. Without thinking, Ellie stood. Her chair scraped against the linoleum, loud enough to cut through the laughter. She didn't look at Kaylee or Mason or Tessa. She didn't look at anyone. Her eyes locked on the desk in front of her, a heavy wooden thing scarred with years of carved initials and doodles. Her hands balled into fists, and in one fluid motion, she kicked the desk with every ounce of strength she had. The force sent it skidding across the floor, crashing into the wall with a thunderous bang. The room went dead silent. Every eye was on Ellie now, but this time it wasn't mocking. It was shock. Even Kaylee's smirk faltered, her perfect brows knitting together. Mason's grin vanished. Tessa's mouth hung open. Mr. Callahan stammered, "Ellie, what in the world?" But Ellie wasn't done. She stepped forward, her torn sweater hanging off one shoulder, her voice low but steady. "I'm not your punching bag," she said, looking straight at Kaylee. "Not anymore." The words hung in the air, heavy and final. No one moved. No one spoke. The first time in her life, Ellie Harper wasn't invisible. She was a force. A quiet